Howdy everyone, it's Sam. Welcome to the Wobble Enjoy Sports channel. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. But if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Finals week is here, baby. Let's get stuck straight into it. The 2023 NRL Finals Series starts on Friday night from Suncorp Stadium. The Broncos, $1.60. The Storm, $2.35. This is going to be the 55th meeting between the Broncos and the Storm have the overall head-to-head record 39-13 with one draw. This will be the 9th finals match between the Storm and the Broncos, and at the moment it stands at 6-2 in favour of the Melbourne Storm. Get this as well, the Melbourne Storm have played 3 times at Suncorp Stadium in finals football against the Brisbane Broncos, and they are undefeated in finals football at Suncorp against the Brisbane Broncos. Last time these two sides met at Suncorp in finals footy was that famous semi-final victory in 2008. And last time that the Broncos even defeated the Storm at Suncorp Stadium was in the year 2009. Wow. And last weekend, these two sides did meet in a highly entertaining game, but it was the battle of the young Storm versus the young Brisbane Broncos. And yeah, wow, the hoodoo really is a fair dinkum thing, which is making me sweat a little bit on who to tip. But let's get stuck into the team list now. So we've got Reece Walsh, who returns at fullback after he was rested last weekend. Corey Oates has been dropped down to jersey number 18. Therefore, Jesse Arthurs comes in to fill his spot on the wing. Selwyn Cobbo is the other winger, and he could be in for a huge final series. Staggs, Farnworth, the centres, Mam and Reynolds as the halves, Flegler, Walters, Haas, the forward pack, Capewell, Ricky, Carrigan, the back row, Tyson Smoothie, Piakura, Hetherington, and Palacia are the interchange. And I've got to say that Corey Jensen could consider himself a little bit unlucky not to be featuring in finals football, or at least this Friday night anyway, but that's what the team list is. And Oates has again been named as jersey number 18. Going into the Melbourne Storm now, Meaney is going to be the fullback with jersey 1. Warbrick and Coates, the wingers. Seve and Tonomapia are the centres. Munster and Hughes are the halves pairing. Kamikamitha, Grant and Welch, the forward pack. Liero, Katoa, King, the back row. Garlic, Eisenhuth, Big Nas, and Ryan Pappenhausen, jersey number 17, with Tyrone Wishart in at jersey number 18. This is going to be an absolute beauty. I am leaning towards the Brisbane Broncos, but it's now 14 wins in a row against Brisbane. Do the Melbourne Storm have against them? So this is a bit of a flip of the coin game, man. But I just think the Broncos have played much better footy than them. Last time that these two sides met, not last weekend, but earlier this season, it was down in Melbourne and the Storm won. And I think they kind of did it comfortably in the end. The scoreline would indicate not, but I think they did it really comfortably. But I'm telling you, if we get a matchup like the one earlier this season between the Storm and the Broncos, it was one of the most farcical, controversial, bullshit, infuriating contests I can remember watching, man. If we got that coming our way on Friday night, everyone, myself, gonna go absolutely Armageddon on the referees and the NRL. Fair dinkum. Hopefully we don't get that sort of a contest. I'm going to tip the Brisbane Broncos 1-12. Moving into Super Saturday, there are 2 games, and game number 1 is from Bluebet Stadium. The Panthers host the Warriors. Penrith are $1.22. The Warriors are $4.30. I reckon that's a little bit big on the Warriors, but it's good value. This will be the 51st meeting between the two sides. Penrith have the overall head-to-head record 31-18. In finals football, Panthers and Warriors have duked it out twice, last time being in 2018, and Penrith are 2-0 versus the New Zealand Warriors in finals football. As a matter of fact, the recent head-to-head record, Panthers have won 7 in a row against the New Zealand Warriors, so that is massive. The last time the Warriors defeated Penrith Panthers at all was actually at Bluebet Stadium in 2019. The last time that these two sides met was at Magic Round. 18 points to 6 was the scoreline. Panthers winning. But you talk to Warriors fans and they say we were in that game, we got hard done by, and I got to say, it was a really hard-hitting game. It was a really hotly contested matchup, and there were a couple of exclusions in this contest, which makes me think it might be very similar this weekend. In the last time that these two sides met, there was no Tamare Martin or Luke Metcalf. They were playing with Dylan Walker in the 5/8 position, which meant that they were losing that punch up the guts and coming off the bench from Dylan Walker. So I haven't seen the team list yet, so I wonder if that's going to be the case this weekend. So I think they missed a little bit of punch that day. I think they're going to get it back, but we'll see in a second. Isaac Tungo did not play in that game and probably will be named to play in this contest. Another stat in this game that makes me think the Warriors could be a chance. The Warriors missed 59 tackles, right? That's not good. That's awful. They missed 59 tackles against the Penrith Panthers that day. There were 2 sin binnings in there, of course, mind you. Penrith Panthers missed 47 tackles that day. Very un-Panther-like. 47 missed tackles from the Panthers. Holy dooly. A lot of people are suggesting that the Warriors need to play second phase football. I don't think they played second phase football in that game. I think they just turned on the aggression. They turned on the mongrel, did the Warriors, and got real up in their faces against the Penrith Panthers. So it's going to be fascinating to see how the Warriors play. So let's go into the team list now. Penrith Panthers first up, the minor premiers for 2023. Dylan Edwards, the fullback. Taruva and To'o, the wingers. Tungo and Stephen Crichton, the centres. Cogger and Cleary, the halves. Leota, Kenny and Harris, Fisher-Harris. Scott Sorensen, Martin and Yo are the back row. And the interchange reads Peachy, Smith and Leniu, and Zach Hosking. 18th man for Penrith is Jamin Salmon. Going into the team list for the Wars, CNK is at fullback, DWZ and Montoya are the wingers, Berry and Pompey are the centres, and Tamare Martin and Sean Johnson are the halves pairing. AFB, Wade Egan and Mitch Barnett are the front rowers, and Mitch Barnett didn't play in Magic Round in that game against the Panthers as well. He's playing this weekend. Jackson Ford, Nia Corey and Tohu Harris has been named in the lock position. That's interesting because he was in severe doubt and still will be in doubt, but it's great to see that he has been named. Interchange, Dylan Walker, Jazz Tavanga has been named. Bailey Sirenen and Josh Curran. Freddie Lussick in a jersey number 18. The Warriors, they went down to Melbourne in 2008 and they beat the Melbourne Storm from 8th place, and Melbourne Storm were in first position. So the Warriors can do the unexpected in finals football. It's their first trip to September footy since 2018 for the New Zealand Warriors. They've got themselves a home final next weekend, but if they can win this one and make it a home prelim in a couple of weeks' time, hold your hats, everyone. But how can you go against the Penrith Panthers at the moment? I'll say 1-12 Penrith Panthers. The second game on Super Saturday is from PointsBet Stadium in Cronulla. The Sharks host the Sydney Roosters. On tab, the Sharkies and the Roosters cannot be split. They are $1.90 each way. Holy crap. This will be the 101st meeting between the two sides, and the eastern suburbs have a 63-35 overall head-to-head record lead. This will be the third meeting between the two sides in finals footy. It's a rare occasion. It's kind of strange as well, considering how long both these clubs have been in the competition for. This will only be the third ever finals meeting between these two. The eastern suburbs are 2-0 versus the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. Last time they met in finals footy was in 2018 in week 1 of the finals. Earlier this season, the Sharkies did beat the Roosters at Shark Park, but it was the Sharks' first win against the Sydney Roosters in 7 or 8 games. They hadn't beaten them since 2017, so they got the monkey off the back. Can they do it again, or will the Roosters want to rectify things? It's going to be, I'm pretty in favour and in agreement with how Tab have got that as $1.90 each way, man. Going into the list now for the Sharkies, Tracy, Katoa, Molatalo, the back three, Ramian and Talakai, the centres, Trindle and Hines, the halves, Rudolph, Brayley, Hamlin, Uele, the forward pack. Nikora, Graham, and McInnes are the back row. And then the interchange is Williams, Hunt, Hazelton, and Kofusi, with Kyle Iro named as jersey number 18. But make mention there that William Kennedy has been named in jersey number 21. So watch this space with him. Going into the Roosters, Tedesco is at fullback, Panga and Suoli'i are the wingers. So Daniel Tupou was unable to overcome his injuries, so that's unfortunate. Billy Smith and Joey Manu has been named. So Manu, I don't think he'd be right 100%, but who is these days? Luke Keary, Sam Walker, the halves pairing. Baker, Smith, Collins, the forward pack. Wong, Butcher, and Radley are the back row. Sandon Smith, Egan Butcher, Terrell May, Angus Crichton are the interchange, with Drew Hutchison being named as jersey number 18. I can easily see the Roosters winning this. I really can. They've had a lot of things go their way to fall into finals football, but they've done the main thing. They've won 5 or 6 games in a row. So I can't say they don't deserve to be there. It's just that, wow, only 5 weeks ago, they were gone. Absolutely gone, dirt in the ground. Whereas the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, I think, of course they can beat the Roosters, but they've got to do it defensively. And I remember the game they had against the North Queensland Cowboys about a month or so ago. And defensively, as a unit, they were pretty solid, man. I know the Cowboys were pretty iffy in that game, but I think the Sharkies did pretty good stuff in defense. So I can see this being like a 14-10, 14-12 sort of a scoreline. I'm going to tip the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks pretty much purely because it's at PointsBet Stadium. Oh, and by the way, they absolutely do deserve to play that game at PointsBet Stadium for sure, dude. Cowboys had to do it last year, but they got the win in the end, didn't they? Ah, what a year of difference makes. And the fourth and final game of the first week of finals footy for 2023 is from McDonald Jones Stadium. The Knights host the Raiders. The Knights are $1.23 favourites. The Raiders are $4.20 outsiders. And this is the first ever meeting between the Knights and the Raiders in finals football. That's amazing. This will be overall the 57th meeting between the two sides, and the Raiders have a 29-25 lead. This is the first home final for the Knights since 2006, where they defeated the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. In the overall home finals record at McDonald Jones Stadium, is 4-2. For the Canberra Raiders, they travelled to Newcastle last season and they got the dub. So I'm assuming there is a massive contingent of the Green Machine that knows what it's like to have a win at Newcastle. So that's pretty cool. And since 2016, there have been 3 games played up at McDonald Jones Stadium between the Knights and the Raiders, and it's gone draw, win, loss. Depending on who you barrack, it's gone draw, win, loss, basically. So far as a form guide goes, it's absolutely all over the friggin' compass. Going in to the Newcastle Knights team list, Ponga has been named at fullback. Young, Marzu are the wingers, Gagai and Best the centres. Gamble and Jackson Hastings has been named in the halves. Saifidi, Leo Thompson and Crossland are the forward pack. Frizzell, Fitzgibbon and Elliott are the back row, and this might be Lachlan Fitzgibbon's last game for the Newcastle Knights this weekend. Kurt Mann, Daniel Saifidi, Jack Hetherington and Matt Croker are the interchange, with Adam Clune being named as jersey 18. And then the Canberra Raiders now, Jordan Rapiner at fullback, James Schiller and Nick Chotrich are the wingers. Jack Whiten and Matt Timoko are the centres. Matt Frawley and Jamal Fogarty are the halves pairing. So Jared Croker hasn't been named. He hasn't been that. Okay. The forward pack, Ata Mariotta starts in jersey number 8 because unfortunately Josh Papali'i is injured for the rest of the season. Zach Wolford and Joe Tarpanay are the rest of the forward pack. Hudson Young, Elliot Whitehead and Hohepa Puru in jersey number 13. Oh, man, step up big time, man. I mean, Kalen Ponga made his debut for the Cowboys in the semi-final, and I know it's not Puru's debut, but fair dinkum, close enough, isn't it? Tom Starling, Emre Gula, Pasami Saulo and Trey Mooney, big Trey Mooney in jersey 17, playing finals footy. And Jared Croker, well, there you go. He's been named as jersey number 18. There's a little bit of unknown about the Canberra Raiders coming into this weekend, isn't it? I mean, I mentioned before that Fitzgibbon's playing his last game for the Knights potentially. Could potentially be Jack Whiten's last game for the Canberra Raiders this weekend. Jared Croker seemingly has already played his last game for the Canberra Raiders, being named as jersey 18. That's really unfortunate, by the way. Yeah, I'll save my thoughts on Ricky Stewart another day, just quietly. But hey, because there's a little bit unknown and because there's a bit of young, hot players for the Raiders that have been named, it just might lift them up enough to make sure they're within touching distance throughout the entire 80 minutes. But losing Papali'i, losing Corey Horsburgh and I'll tell you what, Corey Horsburgh should not have been suspended in the fucking first place, just quietly. And then you got Sebastian Kris, who does deserve to be suspended. Yeah, they're going in really, really battered and bruised, aren't they? Not at full strength at all. Meanwhile, for the Newcastle Knights, Kalen Ponga, I think Jackson Hastings could have played last weekend if it was do or die, so he's fine. But Kalen Ponga doing his AC injury, I know that like the likes of Nathan Cleary last year or the year before had to play finals with a busted shoulder himself, but Kalen Ponga, I'm going to be really honest, I'm pretty much going to give away my tip right now. I am so confident that the Newcastle Knights are going to win this game that I would rest Kalen Ponga. I genuinely would. If it's an AC injury, give him one more week rest, and then he plays a semi-final against either Penrith or New Zealand away from Newcastle, because I think Lockie Miller could come in and do a fantastic job. But of course, I mean, trying to keep Kalen Ponga at bay this weekend would be trying to keep a bull inside of his friggin' cage, just about. So I'm going to tip the Newcastle Knights 13 plus, but it's the Raiders. You just don't know. You don't know with the Canberra Raiders, man. Fair dinkum. But no, they are so hot at the moment, are the Newcastle Knights. I can't tip against them. So Newcastle Knights 13 plus on Sunday in a place that is going to be full to the brim and spilling over by full time. It's going to be such a sight, and it's going to be a hell of a sound as well. Yo, that's it for me, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope your team wins this weekend. Who am I going for in this year's final series? Because my team is gone. I'm going to tip. I'm split down the middle. It's going to be either the New Zealand Warriors or the Newcastle Knights that I'm going to be getting right behind. Probably leaning towards the New Zealand Warriors, in all honesty. Well, that's it for me. Hope your team wins this weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care. Adios.